Hey, happy Monday. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Today I wanted to go over the week in review, and this past weekend I had quite the experience scribing for one of the, I think it was a championship show. It was the larger end of year show for the local dressage society. So I had a wonderful time. I was very, I thought I was going to be more rusty than I was, but it ended up being fine. I learned a new system. I think it was like the dark horse system, black horse, dark horse. But it's like the one system out there that exists apparently for scribing for dressage events, and that was interesting. That was quite enlightening. I had a wonderful time, and I was actually put with this really nice judge, and she was pretty patient with me. From Chicago. And, we had some pretty good conversations about, the local community, the local trainers, and trainers in general nationally, and kind of what to do with my own horse, and kind of evaluating some of the things that I kind of told her I was interested in. And I'm like, I don't know much about information on judging, should I go that direction? So, things like that. And she's like, there's a huge, for this generation, I mean, people retire, they move on with their lives, but currently there's a big click in the judging community, and it's hard to kind of get in, and the paywall in front of it is enormous. So I'm like, you know what, no. Between the it's a give and take, and it's too much take for not enough give. So I think I might just continue volunteering scribing, just to see what numbers judges put to what things. And maybe going for the L level program, just to see, like, because I know what's correct, and I know what can be excellent, and I know what's not correct. But what is a mystery to me at times, more for, certain WDA, like Western dressage movements, such as like the jog or elope, and less for like USDF, because I did show that level, and less for the FEI, because I did seriously train that level. But just like seeing what they assign to what thing, like what does a one look like? Because things that, I mean, if I was a judge, I'd be pretty harsh. I think, some of the things I would be like, that's a 3, and the judge was like, no, I would put more of like a 4 or 5.5. I'm like, oh, interesting. Now I shut up during the test so that people could have their honest test. She could give me the information. These are just conversations we had on the side. So it was quite interesting. It was very eye-opening. And it got me to kind of become introduced to the WDAA, so the Western Dressage Association of America. I mean, I know it existed, and I saw some YouTube videos of it, and I'm familiar with it. It's a newish organization, but I didn't know like the culture behind it, and I wasn't really sure what to do with it. And it actually lines up more with art of dressage and classical dressage than the current state of modern sport dressage for English. And it was pretty eye-opening. And she was like, you know what, you might just want to, if you want your business to move on, you do want to compete. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, I'll compete. But she's like, you might want to be in the WDAA. And I'm like, I don't really like Western saddles. But then I looked at DP's quantum saddles, and I'm like, okay, I think I could do a DP quantum saddle. No, it's expensive, pretty penny. I need to find some more students. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, it was quite eye-opening, so I'm going to be doing some more research into the WDAA and seeing what that looks like. I have taught a thoroughbred how to jog. It's very easy to teach a quarter horse how to jog and lope, because that is within the scope of their breed, like natural scope of their breed. So I'm like, okay, that's not hard at all. You can teach any horse jog or a lope, really. I mean, it's kind of like a different combination of things, but if the horse is following your body, then they should be able to do it. It's not like a kick 3 times and then it's like a magic combination and then they lope. It's not button pressing like that. It's just intention and them following your body language and body energy. So what else? Revan's training is leveling up. Now that my husband is moving out of his allergy season, thankfully, he can help me out with finishing Revan's riding in. Now, riding in is, a lot of people here in the United States would consider it breaking, but it's getting the horse used to carrying a rider for the first time on a lunge at a walk, trot, and canter as the horse is ready for it. So I've been riding Revan at a walk, and he's been learning how to carry my weight. And the past couple of rides have been very good. And I did have a ride that was not recorded, and I mean, it was just because I didn't feel like bringing my camera out, and I'm like, I just don't feel like it today, but I do want to ride. So I did, and it was wonderful. I mean, it wasn't spectacular. We didn't do anything spectacular, but what did happen was his back finally felt like he was carrying me without trying. Instead of him trying to keep his thoracic sling up and he was focusing on that, he seems to move out more naturally without having to micro focus on his posture. So I think he's ready for the trot. So we're going to do that. So, hubby will be on the ground with the lunge, and then I will be in the saddle, and then we will do our transitions until he understands my leg first before he needs the support of the lunge. Because he knows a lunge, he knows the commands on the lunge, he knows trot, he knows, okay, if I move the lunge whip and make some noise, he needs to move on. He knows the little half halts on the line, he needs to kind of collect a little bit, and he knows when to stop. So that being established is necessary, and he knows that. And then when his trot is more reliable and feels just like the walk feels right now, where he can carry me properly and he can move to a stretch and then a working gait, then he'll be ready for the canter. Unless he offers it earlier and it ends up being amazing. But yeah, we need to finish the riding in. So I plan on getting him to an intro level by the spring. So that means walk trot, and we're working on canter transitions here and there, but mainly walk and trot with forward down and all of that. So, and then we'll see if he can do a jog. I know he can do a jog online because he does that. When I ask him to do a stretching trot, he stretches forward down, and then he gets a little tired and he just kind of mellows out into a jog instead of an active, like, moving, springy stretching trot. And he does that sometimes. So I know he can do it. I know he can do a lope. He's done that twice. I love his canter. So if he can do a stretching canter, we can turn that into lope pretty easily. So, no, I said I'd never do Western, but if the culture is better, and then we will ultimately be happier, and the fact that the WDAA accepts bitless as an option. So, like, while I'm trying to do my fight for bitless options in the FEI level, I can at least do some sort of shows and move my business forward locally and show them, like, hey, we're getting good scores, hopefully, on our tests. So I'm pretty sure that I could get over the whole Western saddle thing, and I can get a pretty nice, colorful, pretty Baroque. It's Baroque enough to make me happy, but then loud enough to make Western people happy too. It's one of those things. I want to buy a bridle that I can use with both a Baroque saddle and a Western saddle and make it look decent. So that's what I'm doing with it. So, the new release of the Fundamentals series. So this is something that I was thinking of putting into a paid course, but then I sat back and I'm like, okay, what am I going to put behind a paywall, and how am I going to justify it being behind a paywall? Not just, oh, it's more information, so therefore. So I've decided that the paywall will happen when the movements get complex enough or necessary that you need a coach. Like, you could figure this out if you're an established trainer and you have a good understanding of the art of riding, and you have a good understanding of classical dressage, and you could extrapolate. So congratulations, go for it. But if you are the average person and you just want to learn, you want to keep learning, and you're not sure if you're doing it right, which I'm going to have to do the same for the WDAA. I'm going to have to find some sort of instructor that will show me, that will tell me what a jog and a lope is. We're all learning new things. I'm learning new things. I've done classical dressage, I've done all of this stuff all the way up through the levels, and now I'm just learning how to jog and lope. It happens. Western's new for me. I mean, it is and it isn't. I've done barrel racers. I've taught barrel racers, and I've taught the dressage principles to barrel racers so that they can be better at the barrels. But I haven't been in reining. I haven't done, well, I did Western Pleasure and I didn't like it. And I did it because my employer needed me to ride the Western horses in the shows. So we did Western Pleasure. By choice, I wouldn't do Western Pleasure, but it is in my history of training and riding. It was more riding than training, because I didn't really train those horses that do Western Pleasure. I just rode because I was being paid. Hey, we got blue ribbons. It was good. It worked at the time. But yeah, I haven't really, really, really been in Western. Truly. Just kind of behind the scenes. So this will be a new experience for me. But yeah, the fundamentals, that's all going to be free on YouTube. So that first video should be coming out on Thursday. Granted, I don't lose my mind and somehow not get that video completed on time. Hopefully. I got a new schedule down, so hopefully it's easier to follow this time. Now knowing how long things actually take. And then on Wednesday, because I just got the script done. On Wednesday, the Piaf Preparations Classical Solutions video is going to be coming out. And hopefully the weather holds out for videoing the B-roll for that. Fingers crossed. I mean, I could have done the B-roll of that today, but today is just not one of those productive days. If you know what I mean. So, yep, we're getting that out. And I've decided that the first level of course that is going to be behind a payroll is the movement level. So I have 5 levels. So I have foundations, fundamentals, movement, refinement, and haute école. So yeah, that's 5. So the first 2 are going to be free on YouTube as a free course. Foundations might be redone later because my husband's like, yeah, I watched it and the wind moving the camera like that, he's like, it made me sick. I'm like, oh, great, I don't really want to redo it now. I'm working on other things. So that might be redone at some point to make it look a little bit better, a little nicer, now that I have a better understanding of how to make things work. But yeah, the movement level is going to be the first behind a paywall. So once Revan is to that level and I can start videoing the how-to videos to that one, then that would be the first course. But otherwise, until then, it is coaching online and in person. So if you need a coach, if you need a coach for any of this, let me know. So, all right, thank you. Love y'all, and thanks for watching. And my Patreon patrons, thank you. Nick Lewis, Margie, and Blake Brandon for supporting us. It's been amazing so far. So, I hope for continued support. So if you want to be more detailed in supporting and be a little bit more involved in the things that are happening around here with Revan and his training and all of this, check us out on Patreon. So, all right, link below. Thank you.